In this video we will learn about BRICS, its summits, current leaders, its objectives, its areas of cooperation and also its significance for India. So let's start with basic information about BRICS. Let's start with basic information about BRICS. BRICS is the acronym coined to associate 5 major emerging economies: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. The BRICS members are known for their significant influence on regional affairs. Since 2009, the governments of the BRICS states have met annually at formal summits. India hosted the most recent 13th BRICS Summit on September 9, 2021 virtually. Member countries and its capital, population per area, and currency. Brazil. Capital, Pretoria. Area, 44.2 square kilometer. Currency, Rand. Russia. Capital, Moscow. Area, 8.4 square kilometer. Currency, Ruble. India. Capital, Delhi. Area, 391 square kilometer. Currency, Rupee. China. Capital, Beijing. Area, 142.1 square kilometer. Currency, Renminbi. South Africa. Capital, Brasilia. Area, 28.8 square kilometer. Currency, Real. Originally the first 4 were grouped as BRIC before the induction of South Africa in 2010. The BRICS have a combined area of 39,746,220 square kilometers, which is 15,346, 101.0 square miles, and an estimated total population of about 3.21 billion, or about 26.7% of the world land surface and 41.5% of the world population. 4 out of 5 members are among the world's 10 largest countries by population and by area, except for South Africa, which is 24th in both. These 5 states had a combined nominal GDP of $19.6 trillion, about 23.2% of the gross world product, a combined GDP, PPP, of around $40.55 trillion, 32% of the world's GDP PPP, and an estimated $4.46 trillion in combined foreign reserves. Bilateral relations among BRICS states are conducted mainly based on non-interference, equality, and mutual benefit. Let's see some BRICS summit. The BRIC grouping's first formal summit, also held in Yekaterinburg, commenced on June 16, 2009-14, with Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, Dmitry Medvedev, Manmohan Singh, and Hu Jintao, the respective leaders of Brazil, Russia, India, and China, all attending. The most recent physical BRICS summit took place in Brazil from 13 to November 14, 2019. India hosted the BRICS 2021 summit virtually. 4th and 8th BRICS summit was also hosted by India. Structure of BRICS. BRICS does not exist in form of organization, but it is an annual summit between the supreme leaders of 5 nations. The chairmanship of the forum is rotated annually among the members, in accordance with the acronym BRICS. BRICS cooperation in the past decade has expanded to include an annual program of over 100 sectoral meetings. Current leaders of BRICS are Jair Bolsonaro, President of Brazil; Vladimir Putin, President of Russia; Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of India; Xi Jinping, President of China; Cyril Ramaphosa, President of South Africa. Objectives of BRICS are: the BRICS seeks to deepen, broaden and intensify cooperation within the grouping and among the individual countries for more sustainable, equitable and mutually beneficial development. BRICS takes into consideration each member's growth, development and poverty objectives to ensure relations are built on the respective countries' economic strengths and to avoid competition where possible. BRICS is emerging as a new and promising political diplomatic entity with diverse objectives, far beyond the original objective of reforming global financial institutions. Areas of cooperation are: 1. Economic cooperation. There are rapidly growing trade and investment flows between BRICS countries as well as economic cooperation activities across a range of sectors. Agreements have been concluded in the areas of economic and trade cooperation, innovation cooperation, customs cooperation, strategic cooperation between the BRICS Business Council, Contingent Reserve Agreement and the New Development Bank. These agreements contribute to realization of the shared objectives of deepening economic cooperation and fostering integrated trade and investment markets. 2. People-to-People Exchange. BRICS members have recognized the need for strengthening people-to-people exchanges and to foster closer cooperation in the areas of culture, sport, education, film and youth. People-to-people exchanges seek to forge new friendships, deepen relations and mutual understanding between BRICS peoples in the spirit of openness, inclusiveness, diversity and mutual learning. Such people-to-people exchanges include the Young Diplomats Forum, Parliamentarian Forum, Trade Union Forum, Civil BRICS as well as the Media Forum. 3. Political and security cooperation. BRICS member political and security cooperation is aimed at achieving peace, security, development and cooperation for a more equitable and fair world. BRICS provides opportunities for sharing policy advice and exchanges of best practices in terms of domestic and regional challenges as well as advancing the restructuring of the global political architecture so that it is more balanced, resting on the pillar of multilateralism. BRICS is utilized as a driver for South Africa's foreign policy priorities including the pursuit of the African Agenda and South-South cooperation. 4. Cooperation mechanism. Cooperation among members is achieved through Track I, formal diplomatic engagement between the national governments. Track 2, engagement through government-affiliated institutions, for example state-owned enterprises and business councils. Track 3, civil society and people-to-people engagement. Impacts of BRICS on global institutional reforms. The main reason for cooperation to start among the BRICS nation was the financial crises of 2008. The crises raised doubts over sustainability of the dollar-dominated monetary system. The BRICS called for the reform of multilateral institutions in order that they reflect the structural changes in the world economy and the increasingly central role that emerging markets now play. BRICS managed to push for institutional reform which led to International Monetary Fund, IMF, quota reform in 2010. Thus the financial crises had momentarily reduced Western legitimacy and briefly let the BRICS countries become agenda setters in multilateral institutions. New Development Bank. NDB is headquartered in Shanghai. At the 4th BRICS Summit in New Delhi, 2012, the possibility of setting up a new development bank was considered to mobilize resources for infrastructure and sustainable development projects in BRICS and other emerging economies, as well as in developing countries. During the 6th BRICS Summit in Fortaleza, 2014, the leaders signed the agreement establishing the new development bank, NDB. Fortaleza Declaration stressed that the NDB will strengthen cooperation among BRICS and will supplement the efforts of multilateral and regional financial institutions for global development, thus contributing to sustainable and balanced growth. NDB's key areas of operation are clean energy, transport infrastructure, irrigation, sustainable urban development and economic cooperation among the member countries. The NDB functions on a consultative mechanism among the BRICS members with all the member countries possessing equal rights. Contingent Reserve Arrangement. Considering the increasing instances of global financial crisis, BRICS nations signed BRICS Contingent Reserve Arrangement, CRA, in 2014 as part of Fortaleza Declaration at 6th BRICS Summit. The BRICS CRA aims to provide short-term liquidity support to the members through currency swaps to help mitigating BOP crisis situation and further strengthen financial stability. The initial total committed resources of the CRA shall be $100 billion of the United States of America, $100 billion US. It would also contribute to strengthening the global financial safety net and complement existing international arrangements, IMF. Importance of BRICS for India. India can benefit from collective strength of BRICS by way of consultation and cooperation on economic issues of mutual interests, as well as topical global issues, such as international terrorism, climate change, food and energy security, reforms of global governance institutions, etc. India remains engaged with the other BRICS countries on its NSG membership. The NDB will help India to raise and avail resources for their infrastructure and sustainable development projects. The NDB has approved its first set of loans, which included a loan of $250 million in respect of India for multi-tranche financing facility for renewable energy financing scheme. Challenges faced by BRICS. The marked dominance of Big Three Russia, China, India is challenged for the BRICS as it moves ahead. To become a true representative of large emerging markets across the world, BRICS must become pan-continental. Its membership must include more countries from other regions and continents. The BRICS will need to expand its agenda for increasing its relevance in the global order. As of now, climate change and development finance, aimed at building infrastructure, dominate agenda. As BRICS moves forward, foundational principles of BRICS, that is respect for sovereign equality and pluralism in global governance, are liable to be tested as the 5 member countries pursue their own national agendas. The military standoff between India and China on the Doklam Plateau, which has effectively brought to an end the naive notion that a comfortable political relationship is always possible amongst the BRICS members. China's efforts to co-opt nation-states, which are integral to its Belt and Road Initiative, into a border political arrangement has potential to cause conflict among BRICS members, especially China and India. Way forward for BRICS. BRICS did well in its first decade to identify issues of common interests and to create platforms to address these issues. For BRICS to remain relevant over the next decade, each of its members must make a realistic assessment of the initiative's opportunities and inherent limitations. BRICS nations need to recalibrate their approach and to recommit to their founding ethos. BRICS must reaffirm their commitment to a multipolar world that allows for sovereign equality and democratic decision-making. By doing so, can they address the asymmetry of power within the group and in global governance generally. They must build on the success of the NDB and invest in additional BRICS institutions. It will be useful for BRICS to develop an institutional research wing, along the lines of the OECD, offering solutions which are better suited to the developing world. BRICS should consider BRICS-led effort to meet their commitments under the Paris Agreement on climate change and the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. This could include, for example, setting up a BRICS Energy Alliance and an energy policy institution. NDB in partnership with other development finance institutions could be a potent vehicle to finance progress towards the Sustainable Development Goals amongst the BRICS members. Idea of setting up a BRICS credit rating agency, BCRA, as proposed by India, opposed to Western agencies like Standard & Poor's, Moody's etc., can be on BRICS' future agenda. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you liked it. We will bring a quiz for you on BRICS. Let us know what topic you would want to learn next.